Welcome once again. This is Court in Session. I'm your host, Justice Height. No, this isn't the court of law, more like the court of public observation and factual information, where you or I could be the judge, jury, plaintiff, or defendant at any given time. This is also a safe space for loyal Florida State Seminoles Nation. Yes, Noles Nation, welcome in as we dive back into the state of our beloved Florida State Seminoles as they sit at a very subpar 3-4 at this time. Yes, and it is taking me a very long time to make this video, as the last one I dropped, I brought them into the court and asked what was next, as we knew at the end of a very, very abysmal, disappointing 2-9 season that some changes would definitely be on the horizon. Definitely had several places that had to be addressed on the field and also off the field with our coaching staff. And fortunately, some of those changes were made, and we moved into the first week of the season with a very convincing win over the Alabama Crimson Tide, which our Noles Nation was quite excited for. And at that time, even though we won convincingly and we looked dominant on both sides of the ball, I hesitated to make the video and join in with the crowd of bandwagoners that was saying that Florida State's back and we could run the table and go undefeated and possibly or make it to the playoff. I held off. I was more along the lines of, let's sit back and see as the season progresses and there are more challenges along the way, what this team is really made of. And here we are at week 8. We enter with our Seminoles ranked number 2 in overall offense and number 76 in total defense at this time. And as I said, at a very subpar 3-4 record, 0-4 in the conference, and 4-game losing streak. And because I don't want to be all doom and gloom here, I want to start on a positive note. We're going to bring all evidence into the court here. A lot of our fan base and Noles Nation is impulsive right now, calling for a coaching change, and I'll discuss a little bit more of that in a few. But it's quite obvious right now. It's evident that there are going to be major changes coming. It's just a matter of when at this point, and not a matter of if they are coming. As we can see, I think the key word here is inconsistency. This team has just been inconsistent, with the exception of week 1, in which, as I said, we were completely dominant and we showed what we are capable of on both sides of the ball, being explosive on offense. Tommy Castellanos, Danzy, White, Deuce, playmakers. And in our backfield, we could also control the ball. We could play power and run between the tackles with Sawchuk. Chroma as well has shown flashes of greatness, but we've just been inconsistent. Our offensive line in that game showed dominance, and I don't even want to discuss the games after East Texas A&M and Kent State, because that was pretty much the purpose I saw of those games, were for us to hopefully score 35 points or better by the first half and have the second and third team in to evaluate them and get them some extra reps. Still, they would be polished and hopefully ready in case of any injuries or we needed to make any type of personnel adjustments during the course of the season. And of course, mission accomplished. We got that done with decisive victory, 77-3 over Texas A&M and 66-10 over Kent State. Moving along to Virginia. Good offense. And I warned going into this game, many of our fans and the people in my particular circle weren't even concerned with that game. They were thinking that that was going to be another blowout. And I told them, anybody who would listen, that Virginia has a very, very capable offense. And it was proven. And our defense was just out of place and all out bullied, which is a major disappointment for me, as that was the MO of last year's team, getting bullied, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, on both sides of the ball last year, but particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and especially with the caliber of talent that we had last year on our defensive line. It was just egregious that we got that level of performance out of them. And then to see this year the same sort of show is just equally, and if not more, disappointing, as we have our key players that have showed out and have performed at, I would say, very high levels at some points, but at other points they've been completely absent. And another issue that is lingering is our personnel. And I don't want to get too deep into individual personnel, but in terms of collectively being able to get the caliber of players on the field that are going to propel this program back to where it belongs, which is at the upper echelon of college football in this country, right? We just have not been able to get that done. And I was excited. A lot of many within Knowles Nation was excited for the hire of Tony White, as he is proven he obviously knows defense. You know, this guy has gotten it done wherever he's gone. However, it just has not been consistent on the field. And another consistency, the word consistent and inconsistent will be used a lot in this video, is our inability to make the necessary adjustments in game, on the field, to be able to seal victories. It always seems like there's a crucial moment within a game where the momentum changes, whether that be a turnover or a key penalty, and things just start to unravel. We start to lose the momentum in the game, and our coaching staff, namely Mike Norvell, as the camera usually pans in on him, just has this sort of like, oh shit, it's happening again, deer in the headlights look, and inability to make the necessary, whether it be personnel or scheme, to get the train back on the tracks and secure the victory. You know, of course, we've had key drops on offense. The one thing I would say, shout out to Gus Malzahn. I think he's done a great job thus far with the offense, restoring a running game, a consistent and a respectable running game. But we still haven't been able to sustain enough drives. And as good as Tommy Castellanos has been, he's made some key errors. And he seems a bit impatient at times with allowing plays and routes to develop, and wants to break the pocket and take off sometimes when it's unnecessary. And now he's hurt going into this next game against Wake Forest, which is another uh, another respectable opponent. They just held a good SMU team to 12 points in a victory. It took an undefeated Georgia Tech team overtime and I believe a last minute or overtime field goal in which they won the game by less than 4 points or less than 3 points. So Wake Forest is definitely no walkover. Our next 5 games will be challenging. However, I do believe that we have enough talent to win these games. Will we win all of them? No. I'm hoping that we win at least 3 or 4 of the next 5 games, which would put us at 7-5, hopefully, and make us bowl eligible. But that is definitely not the standard for Florida State. And I heard one of our coaches, our positions coaches, saying we just have to win a game. That's not the standard for Florida State. And I think our fan base has reached a point of no return in which they want change. And that change is definitely inevitable. There's no easy solution to this, whether you go James Franklin, who is a Pennsylvania native, with his recruitment ties in that region. There's no guarantee Dan Lanning leaves Oregon. There's a bunch of other job openings out there: Florida, LSU, Auburn, Penn State. Even though Florida State is always going to be on the top of the chart, but there are a lot of other schools out there that will be in the hiring pool. And so there is absolutely no quick fix to this. A lot of our fan base is calling for Jimbo Fisher. I would like to remind you about how Jimbo Fisher exited Florida State and how he exited Texas A&M. His tenure there wasn't exactly the most successful. There were some egregious losses during his time at Texas A&M. And yes, is he an upgrade in recruitment? Yes, certainly he is an upgrade in recruitment. However, I always remind Florida State loyals that we are Florida State, and our legacy alone will always draw talent to this program. Kids are not going to Alabama because of Kalen DeBoer. Kids are not going to Ohio State because of Ryan Day. They're going because it's Ohio State and because they have a stabilized program and a history, a legacy that speaks for itself. And I believe Florida State has the same. We just have to get the train back on the tracks. And as I said before, our AD has committed to Coach Norvell for the remainder of the season. So I'm looking at what is going to happen the remainder of the season, how this team responds, how this coaching staff responds. A lot of people have said that the players have completely checked out and they no longer respect Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell, by all accounts, is a great person. I think he cares a lot for this program and for his players, as he has said repeatedly, and I believe he's honest and genuine in that. However, that doesn't translate into being a great coach necessarily. And in game, I don't think he's a great coach in terms of being able to make the right decisions, His clock management at times is very questionable. And in terms of development, in order for us to have a sustainable program moving forward, we're going to have to retain high school talent and develop high school talent. We're not going to be able to just plug and play every season. Now, we did good with the portal this year in our management, in my assessment thus far, with our acquisitions and being able to implement them in our scheme and get production out of them. And we have in years past, namely the 2023 season. But we're not going to strike gold like that probably again. So moving forward, I think Mike Norvell is given the remainder of the season as basically his audition for the remainder of his tenure with Florida State. And in closing this court session, I say, go Noles. I'm looking forward to winning hopefully 4 out of 5 of these remaining games. What do you have to say? Get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. This is Court in Session once again. I'm your host, Justice Hype, and I'm out. Peace.